welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, Vietnam Tzu Chi volunteers are holding an aid distribution to help 70 families in Ho Chi Minh City. In the United States, an accident in a nuclear power plant in Southern California last year is raising concerns for nearby residents. And in Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a Jingsi exhibition in East Jakarta to promote the organization's philosophy. First up, in Vietnam, beginning in 2008, Tzu Chi volunteers have been providing subsidies to care recipients in District 9 of Ho Chi Minh City. The number of households Tzu Chi helped went from single digit to now with over 70 families. At the latest distribution, a local women's association and Taiwanese businessmen joined the volunteers to help those in need.
Knowing Tzu Chi volunteers are visiting on this day, young Ying-er has been waiting eagerly at her door to welcome her visitors.
We have a new roof over our heads thanks to Tzu Chi. I will study hard and not let my grandmother down.
Although the family celebrated the Lunar Year in their new home, it wasn't until the volunteers' appearance that the grandma truly felt her family had reunited.
My two grandchildren can continue with their studies because of Tzu Chi's support. Thank you for all your help and care. I hope that when my granddaughters get older, they too can reach out to help others.
Vietnam Tzu Chi volunteers, together with the local Women's Association, distribute subsidies to their care recipients in Ho Chi Minh City's District 9 every 2 months. As this care recipient works during the day, Tzu Chi volunteers always miss her when they visit. This time, volunteers make a special visit to her vegetable stand.
Business is good at times and bad sometimes. I can sell all my vegetables in a day on a good day. When it's bad, I won't even make enough for 3 meals. Thankfully, Tzu Chi subsidies help us a lot.
16-year-old Xu Yonghan came to volunteer for the very first time. Growing up in a wealthy family, she never imagined that helping those in need could bring so much happiness.
Helping those impoverished people is not just about giving them material support. It's also caring for them like our own family, to make them feel comforted as if they're a part of this family.
The genuine care of the volunteers throughout the years has created a family-like bond with the care recipients, and it can be deeply felt in this recitation.
Đắp vào trái tim của chúng em bao nhiêu hy vọng của các bác đã cho chúng em thêm nghị lực, là các vị thần của chúng em cho chúng em niềm tin hạnh phúc.
To help Syrian refugees in Jordan fight against the cold weather, Taiwan Tzu Chi volunteers have collected and delivered nearly 188,000 pieces of second-hand clothing to Jordan. To date, more than 35,000 Syrian refugees have received this gift of love from Taiwan. At a relief distribution, the humble attitude of the Jordan Tzu Chi volunteers touched the hearts of many local volunteers.
In Jordan, to ensure everyone's safety at the upcoming aid distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers set up at a soccer field 5 kilometers away from the refugee camp. As soon as the relief items are unloaded, volunteers quickly hand out blankets and second-hand clothing to the Syrian refugees. Touched by the volunteers' gestures, the next day, tents and chairs were set up by members of the Al-Takafu, a local charity organization that is working with Tzu Chi in helping the Syrian refugees. Before the start of the relief distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers make an apology to the refugees as the distribution was delayed due to set-up times.
Also, we're sorry for the delay. It's our fault. Thank you very much for your coming.
The gratitude and respect shown by the Tzu Chi volunteers not only touched the hearts of the Syrian refugees, but also local volunteers who have been assisting Tzu Chi volunteers throughout the aid distribution. This local volunteer not only helps with coordinating the event and preparing lunch, but has also asked his family members to join the volunteers' ranks.
And beautiful, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
This is one of the people that joined Tzu Ji's relief work program.
The distribution was also joined by 5 Syrian refugees who said that Tzu Ji's eco-friendly blankets were very warm and urged the other refugees not to sell the blankets for profit, but to use them against the cold. Today, 35,000 refugees have received Tzu Ji's eco-friendly blankets. Upon receiving the news that the blankets were made out of recycled bottles, representatives from Saudi Arabia and Kuwait expressed their amazement. At the distribution, Tzu Ji volunteers treated everyone like family and presented every child with a lollipop. Receiving this love from Taiwan, everyone is all smiles.
Staying in Jordan, apart from handing out second-hand clothing and food to Syrian refugees, Tzu Ji's mid to long-term plan is also to help patients at hospitals and free clinics, which all lack medical resources.
The injuries on the senior's left leg has been badly infected. However, he does not fear amputation, as being able to escape the battlegrounds in Syria has been enough for him. A hospital in Zarqatule village specializes in taking in Syrian refugees that needs amputation. Most sufferers are from gun wounds or bomb blasts. Tzu Ji volunteers present each with a blanket and food supplies and a vow to care and revisit. Meanwhile, located an hour away from Jordan's capital in Erbil, is a refugee-free clinic set up by Syrian doctors who have also fled their own country. The clinic's facilities are simple: medicine, basic. Even the surgery room is just a converted kitchen. However, in a span of 3 apartments, the clinic holds about 30 beds with nursing staff. Tzu Ji has helped the clinic by providing the necessary mattress and clothing, besides the regular visit and $5,000 in financial assistance for medical supplies. Besides the refugee family in Amman that have already been listed as care recipient families, these refugee-free clinics and hospitals have become a long-term care facilities in the eyes of Tzu Ji volunteers, as volunteers hope to bring a sense of peace to the refugees in this time of crisis.
Moving to the Philippines, in Muntinlupa City, a fire broke out as a result of unattended candles, leaving 107 families homeless. Since many evacuated without taking any belongings, Tzu Ji volunteers organized an aid distribution to provide daily necessities to help the victims.
Clapping hands excitedly are the fire survivors who are cheering for the Tzu Ji relief items they are going to receive later today.
I hope Tzu Ji can continue to help more people, just like how they gave us this assistance and blessing.
In February, a fire broke out in Muntinlupa City of the Philippines, leaving 107 households homeless and causing severe damage to the area.
I shouted fire. I told my family to run and forget about our belongings. The important thing is that we are safe.
My mother got hurt, probably because of nails or pieces of glass on the ground. Her feet are still in pain.
Thanks to Tzu Ji's relief work, the fire survivors are able to take their first step towards the recovery of a normal life.
In the United States, a nuclear power plant in Southern California accidentally released a small amount of radioactive material into the environment last year, which again raised nearby residents' concern over the safety of nuclear energy. As today marks the 2nd anniversary of the 311 disasters in Japan, we look into the nuclear energy situation in the U.S.
In California, situated between Los Angeles and San Diego, lies the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, or SONGS. SONGS provides 20% of Southern California's power. However, over the past 40 years, problems at the nuclear plant have been a common occurrence. In January of 2012, SONGS was shut down for repairs due to a premature wear on the tubes in its steam generators.
The California Public Utilities Commission agreed to charge the ratepayers for the nearly $1 billion worth of replacement parts for San Onofre, and they had just replaced the steam generators less than a year earlier on that reactor.
These tubes are the main cooling system for the reactors, and to avoid a nuclear meltdown, the plant has been closed for more than a year. Recently, Southern California Edison proposed to restart the plant before completely fixing the problem. This decision, however, was met with hundreds of interested parties and protesters at its nuclear safety public hearing.
Lately, maybe over the past few years, I've done more stories than I've ever done in my career on the San Onofre nuclear generating station. The mom and dads in this community, the students, grandparents, that we are all paying much closer attention to the events that go on.
But it is the one that is unsafe.
Please put your money into something that doesn't put my future into financial jeopardy.
Those attending the public hearing range from an 84-year-old grandmother to a 13-year-old child.
We cannot sit back and just let it happen to our children and our grandchildren. This was my first great-grandson, Gus. I'm not worried about it right now, for me, because I'm almost 85 years old. Now, we've learned in the last few years there are vast differences in the effect of radiation on individuals or children. It's hundreds to thousands times more.
Besides safety concerns, in the eyes of economics, financially speaking, nuclear power is really the dream that failed. On Wall Street, no one seems to want to invest in nuclear power anymore, as the risks are too high.
The head of General Electric, Jeffrey Immelt, has said he doesn't think there's a future for nuclear power, and General Electric actually builds half the windmills that are deployed in the United States. So there's a lot of money to be made in renewables. In 2011, the major financial journals ran articles showing that renewables are now cheaper than nuclear.
In 2012, the Kewaunee Nuclear Generating Station, located in Wisconsin, was the first plant in the United States to plan for decommission due to economic reasons. Now community residents of Southern California are looking if songs will follow in suit.
Also, in the United States, most of the students that attend the Charles Lee Elementary School in Azusa, California, come from low-income households. Upon learning that 90% of the students go on an empty stomach at lunch, city volunteers quickly arrived to help.
Arriving at the Charles Lee Elementary School, this is the second time Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a school general assembly this year.
Good morning. We're going to have a quick assembly today, and the topic is gratitude. So we have some people here that are going to be talking to you about gratitude today.
So the character education program at Charles Lee Elementary School has been here for 2 years, and we come here every other week. These are lessons on how to build up, your character. So the themes are usually on giving, being respectful, being thankful, being tolerant, being courageous.
Volunteers will normally concentrate their efforts on the first graders, but they believe that some lessons are important enough to share with the entire school.
Telling your teacher to thank you for teaching us.
Ooh. It's really fun. The origami was really fun and nice to our teachers.
Oh, I love this program. I noticed that it started last year at the first grade. I teach second grade, and I noticed the kids come in a lot more caring, and I think they're carrying those character traits onto second grade, and it's so important. And I thank you for coming to our school. I wish you would come to second grade too.
But specifically in the last 2 years, we really kind of have ramped up our involvement with you guys, and it's been a great. We've been doing character assemblies all the way to doing money collection to doing different other projects. So it's been great. So we actually had the whole school-wide had a bamboo. So there was a bamboo bank in every classroom. I think they all got filled in. So I think this was one of the last ones got filled in there. So we want to make sure this turned into you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the loving students and the teachers and principal.
No, thank you so much.
Treating each child like their own, for the past year, Tzu Chi volunteers have been planting the seeds of love in low-income school districts, and now this love is slowly flourishing.
In Arizona of the U.S., Phoenix City volunteers have been holding free clinics on a regular basis to safeguard the health of low-income families or those without medical insurance. Moved by Tzu Chi's love and care, many local residents decided to join the volunteers' ranks.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Tzu Chi volunteers regularly hold free clinics to safeguard the health of those without medical insurance. The free clinics are often joined by people from various ethnic backgrounds. At the clinic, medical staff treat everyone like family. Seeing the volunteers' efforts, many locals decided to join their ranks. Tzu Chi volunteers even held a banquet at the end of the free clinic to thank the local volunteers for their contribution.
So I've done this for 3 years now. We've had new students come every year and do it with us. It's just an awesome experience. We go every year to Honduras, and just to help here is just great for us, and we really enjoy it.
I'm glad, unfortunately, my family is leaving this May. We're moving back to New Jersey for good. So I'm going to miss everyone, but I hope when I'm in New Jersey I'll find another 2 to 10 holes.
This was my first time actually coming here. My friend here was the one that actually told me about this, and just seeing this video of everyone here is so nice and welcoming, and it inspires me to volunteer and get to know the medical field more, or actually get into it.
Through the video clips, everyone saw for themselves the good deeds Tzu Chi has been doing around the globe. Learning about Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks, the local volunteers come to understand that their love is something that can be gathered into a force to be felt around the world.
In Taiwan, Central team of medical staff and Tzu Chi volunteers regularly visit the remote areas of Zuolan Town in Miaoli County to hold free clinics as well as carry out home visitations. At the most recent events, doctors and volunteers again made sure they provided medical treatment and emotional support for all those in need. Prior to the free clinic, team of doctors and volunteers decorate the venue together. After placing all the equipment inside the Pingling Community Center, volunteers first prayed together with their patients. For those unable to attend the events, doctors and volunteers visit them door to door. Grandpa Huang suffers from arthritis, leaving his hands and legs swollen, and his wife is not feeling well either. We check to see if our care recipients are unwell. That way, we can also teach them health prevention methods or ask our volunteers to help keep the environment clean. Dr. Cho Jason patiently teaches the senior how to properly use a walking stick.
Seeing how the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters are all happily devoted to what they do, I feel that I share the same joy as them. So now I try to volunteer whenever I can.
Volunteers next arrive at Grandma Xu's house. The senior frequently experiences high blood sugar levels and feels dizzy all the time. Moved by the volunteers' love and care, the grandma breaks down in tears.
When I go back home, if my grandparents need anything, I will try my best to help them out.
At each of these visits to remote areas, volunteers and team members make sure to bring warmth to every needy family. In Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a Jingsu exhibition at a shopping center south of Jakarta on March 3rd. Upon learning that Tzu Chi is a charity organization, the administration staff decided to provide the venue to Tzu Chi free of charge.
The graceful sign language performance adds a touch of elegance to this busy mall here in southern Jakarta.
We applied to the mall administrator 2 weeks ago to rent the venue. When they learned that we are a charity organization, they lent us the venue free of charge.
With its showcase of eco-friendly items and Jingsu products, the Tzu booth sets itself apart from the rest of the boutique stores. And as volunteers did their best to explain, residents gained a better understanding of the Buddhist NGO.
Bagus, ya.
I see they organize many activities to help the poor.
Banyak aktivitas sosialnya, ya.
Through this event, Tzu volunteers hope to get more people to join the Tzu family.
Following the severe flooding at the beginning of 2012 in New South Wales, Australia, Sydney Tzu volunteers have carried out a series of relief work to help the residents of Yenda. Today, the care continues as volunteers returned for a New Year blessing ceremony and handed out blessing and wisdom red envelopes to participants.
In Australia, after a severe flood hit New South Wales, Tzu volunteers in Sydney have been there to care for flood survivors in Yenda. Thanks to Tzu's assistance, local residents are already back on their feet.
You are just so welcome. I'm just so glad you came. You're just beautiful.
In February 2012, a flood struck New South Wales, leaving Yenda severely damaged. Back then, Tzu volunteers worked day and night to transport the needed aid supplies to the flood survivors. As a way to continue their care for the former flood victims, Tzu volunteers once again visit Yenda to deliver their blessings. To reciprocate the volunteers' kindness, many residents donated their filled bamboo coin banks.
I don't know what to say. Just, you know, dig deep because they've helped us a lot.
Coming back, that all helps people's morale. A lot of us are still getting back into our homes.
And you know you're part of Tzu family now?
Yes, and I'm very proud to be part of it.
At this former distribution venue, volunteers and residents reflect on Tzu's work in Australia and the process of rebuilding homes. As the participants wholeheartedly pray, some are moved to tears.
Everybody comes together, which is lovely.
Upon receiving the blessing and wisdom red envelopes, a farmer promises to donate rice husks for the making of the envelopes. Also joining the occasion is the mayor of Yenda, who also experienced Tzu's care and warmth.
When they come back, I will certainly come back again, and I will take my family because I enjoyed this afternoon so much.
As the event concludes, local resident Nick Connor rushes home to bring his bamboo bank to donate. Seeing the locals back on their feet, Tzu volunteers are ready to move on to help those in need.
We go back to Indonesia at the end of our show. Tzu volunteers in Jakarta have been promoting recycling in their local communities. After the January flooding, Tzu's environmental work has gained more recognition and more recycling points have been set up, thus creating a better living environment for all. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.